Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. And in today's video I will talk about what is ITP. So it's a term related to QC inspectors. If you have worked as a QC inspector or you planning to work as a QC inspector, you should be very familiar with the terminology ITP. ITP is abbreviated as Inspection and Test Plan, and it can simply be defined as setting out a plan for inspections and test requirements. So whatever tests you do as an inspector, whether you are a civil QC inspector, mechanical QC inspector, structural QC inspector, or whatever inspector you are, so you have to inspect some works with the passage of time as the project executes. So you need to do some inspections. So how will you know what inspection should I do and what inspection should I do with the client? So this is all planned as per the ITP. So every project have different ITP. So whatever inspection is done, it's actually written in the inspection and test plan. If you comment in this comment section, I can send you a format of the ITP. This is a general format, not specific to any project, but like every project there is, as I mentioned, there is an ITP, but it's extremely confidential to share any project's ITP. So I will share a format. It's a general format, not for a specific project, but if you study and you read the ITP, so you will completely understand what an ITP looks like. So the question is, what an ITP includes? ITP simply includes the description, right? The description of the inspection type or the test requirement. It includes the frequency, like how often should you perform an inspection, or how often should you do a test. It also includes the acceptance criteria from the client, like what are the requirements. If you fulfill, the client will accept your work or your test inspections or any general inspection. It also includes the project specification, and it is made by referring it to some standards. Like for example, if you are working Aramco project, so the ITP is made based on the Aramco references or Aramco standards. It also includes some other international standards, for example ASTM standards or ACI standards, and it also includes some approved documents. Like the ITP is a combination of the different standards, with the Aramco standards or any other standards, some international standards, and some approved documents. ITP generally include the 3 points: hold point, witness point, and surveillance point. Like I have explained in my previous videos as well, what is a witness point, what is a hold point, and what is a surveillance point. Hold point simply means you cannot proceed the work until and unless the client inspect the work. This is simply called the hold point. Witness point and surveillance points, there is a little bit difference. Surveillance is like the client can anytime randomly inspect your work, and witness point is you should show the client like the work you have executed, and then after approval from the client you can proceed. So if I define hold point in general terms, hold point simply means you cannot proceed the work until and unless the client inspected. Surveillance point, the surveillance point means the client can come at any time, while the witness point means you should wait for the client. If he came, it's okay, he can inspect the work. If not, you can proceed. So ITP is very important. Like as a QC inspector, you have to raise some WIRs. In some project it's called WIRs, work inspection request, and in Aramco project is called RFI, request for inspection. Both are same things. So you have to raise certain WIRs or RFIs. So how will you know what RFI should I raise? What is the sequence of the RFIs or WIRs? It's all mentioned in the ITP. ITP is basically made for this purpose. Like how often should, as I mentioned in the start, there is written the frequency of the inspection. So frequency of inspection means like how often or at what interval of the project you should raise the WIR. So it's all mentioned in the ITP. So for example, I work as a structural QC inspector or structural QC engineer. So in my ITP there are certain WIRs which I should raise and I must raise. I would say I must trace these WIRs based on the ITP. So as a structural QC engineer, my first WIR is as-built survey. Like the civil team has performed some work, and I should know what is the as-built means, like the already made product, the ended product from the civil team, and then it's hand over to the structural team. Like we do the structural work, the steel structure work. So we should know what is the level of this base plate, or if these are the anchor bolts for the column. So there are only two types. One is anchor bolts for the columns, and sometimes there are plates. So I should know what are the levels of these plates and what are the coordinates of these plates, easting, northing. So this is simply as-built survey. And WIR number 2 is surface preparation. If I want to erect some columns on the anchor bolts or the base plates, so I should clean and prepare these surfaces before column erection. This is simply surface preparation. So when surface preparation is done, I will raise the WIR or RFI, and the client will come, he will inspect, and he will approve my WIR. The third one is level and alignment. If the column is erected and the beams are installed, so I will raise another WIR in which the client will just see is the column aligned through, he will check through plumb bobs. In our project, it's checked through the most advanced technology, like through surveyor come and he inspects it through the total station. He just simply take 2 points, one at the base of the column and one at the top of the column. So he fix his total station for the base point, and he simply goes up. If his point comes exactly on the same position as the top point, so it means the column is aligned. If it comes either right or left, so then he determines how much is it left or right. So we are only allowed 2 millimeter per 1 meter or 2 millimeter per 1000 millimeter. So it's acceptable. If it's more than 2 millimeter per 1 meter, like for example our column is 5 meter, so 10 mm is allowed. So if it's more than 10 mm, so it's rejected. It should be, the column should be aligned. It simply means it's not aligned. And the fourth WIR is for the torque. We just simply check if the nuts are tied, the exact same nuts and washer are installed as per the project specification. Then there comes the painting check, and then comes the welding check. So these are 6 WIRs for steel structure. There are some other WIRs related to the metal sheet, but sometimes it's not in the scope of the structural work. So that's it for today's video, and see you in the next video.